Hey, what's happening, everybody? Another day of Sunday school. Another day at 10 o'clock Sunday school, too, because God forbid I maintain any semblance of a normal schedule. And so, what I want to talk about this week, and I'm sure what's on your mind, is how many muscle shirts does this guy actually have? And the answer is, well, don't ask. It'd probably be easier to count how many muscle shirts I don't have. I mean, I would say work shirts, but half of those are muscle shirts. I probably even got my work jacket smaller just so it could show off more shoulders. So in terms of muscle shirts that I don't have, I think everything's a muscle shirt except for maybe two things. And probably one of those I don't even wear. So with that being out of the way, let's talk about the actual topic of the week, which is your immune system. And rather than approaching it as if you're looking for a quick fix for a catastrophe, i.e. you got sick or hurt or you're tired or whatever, what I want to talk about is a maintenance protocol. So rather than just reacting when you're sick, let's talk about what you can do to maintain your immune system strength as you go on so that you can actually push yourself harder, work harder, train harder. I don't want to say sleep less because get your fucking sleep, but if you do have to sleep less for whatever reason, then your immune system can stay under control. And believe it or not, it's not what you think. As a matter of fact, this is it. Excuse the dirty ass jar. I'm not going to wash this every time it's full of honey. Like, try to wash honey off of anything. I'm not fucking doing it. I'm too lazy. But this is the protocol. And so today what I want to do is break this down, why I do this, what it's for, how easy it is, how cheap it is. There's some details regarding this that are really important so that you can push yourself as hard as you want to and stay healthy. Stay away from ringworm, staph, any sort of skin infections. Stay away from getting sick if you're around a lot of people that get sick. Maybe at a job, maybe you have kids that are around a bunch of other kids, or whatever the case may be. Let's talk about it. All right, so first let's talk about that dirty ass jar of honey and garlic, right? So really simple. All it is peeled garlic cloves that are lightly crushed, sitting in honey. Now, as simple as that sounds, there's a lot of thought behind it, so let's break it down. First, yes, peeled garlic cloves. However, I don't buy garlic cloves pre-peeled. I buy them whole, and I buy them organic. That's a very important point, organic garlic. Conventional garlic bought at a normal grocery store is obviously going to be cheaper, but the main problem with it is irradiated for longer shelf life. And that poses a big problem for the active ingredient in garlic, which is what I'm after, called allicin, A-L-L-I-C-I-N. It's a sulfuric compound that's incredibly powerful with antimicrobial properties, antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, and the irradiation process denatures and deactivates the vast majority of it. So don't get cheap. Buy organic garlic. Buying a month's supply will cost you $4. So spend the extra money on it and make sure that it's organic. Same goes with honey. I don't want honey that's been treated with glyphosate. I don't want honey that's been pasteurized. I want honey in its most natural, unprocessed form, including the raw bacterial elements of it. I want the raw probiotic bacteria in it. I do, because in all honesty, pasteurization will denature that. It'll denature a lot of the enzymes in it as well. And all of that's important. And you can find raw honey very easily in most high-end grocery stores. And you can find a local source of it too. So it's had minimal time processing and sitting in the jar. So go for raw organic honey and organic garlic when you do this. Now, when I've talked about this in the past, I've always made it a point to call it fermented garlic and honey. And yes, there is an element of fermentation to it. However, I think it's more important to be a little bit more specific and quite honestly nerdy about it, more than just for me to sound smart, although that is a part of it. Let's not miss words. Like, I'm trying to sound smart. But it's not necessarily true fermentation. It's more of an oxidative reduction reaction, right? So allicin is a sulfuric compound, and as it reacts with oxygen, the sulfur will burn off, causing that to be a lot less astringent. So if you've ever eaten raw garlic, you'll notice that it'll burn, it'll irritate your stomach. If you've ever kind of had like a hippie mom and done jujitsu or wrestling for a long time and gotten a piece of ringworm and you've cut a piece of garlic open and put it on the affected spot, you'll notice it'll burn. That's the sulfur reaction. And if we're talking about the reason why all this happens, one of the more interesting things of this is if you listen to a lot of the social media influencers, I should say the nutrition social media influencers talk about plant defense chemicals. That's exactly what this is. This is a plant defense chemical keeping bugs from eating it, because although yes, it's irritating, albeit mildly irritating to humans, this is the thing that will deter a lot of small insects and pests from eating it. So it is a natural defense mechanism. Now, as this sits in the jar with the honey, it will ferment a bit, but more importantly, as you lightly crush these garlic cloves, the sulfur will start to react with the oxygen and neutralize it. So if you put the garlic in the honey and eat it right away, you can, it won't kill you, and you'll have the same antimicrobial benefits, but what will happen is you'll get a lot of stomach irritation. After about a week or so, give or take, it's an inexact science at best, but after a week or so, you'll notice you'll be able to eat these without any irritation whatsoever. And as you get in the habit of doing this on a daily basis, if you're like me and surrounded by sweaty dudes all the time, and you may not get to shower right away, or maybe you have some training partners that are less than respectful and you train with them while they have ringworm, or even worse, staph, you'll be surprised as to the effectiveness of this regimen on a daily basis, allowing you to maintain your cleanliness, for the lack of a better term. I think it's a great thing to add to your regimen. I eat 2 big garlic cloves every day with honey, and I can speak for myself in my own anecdotal experience that since doing this, I've been doing it now for probably, I don't know, maybe let's say a little bit over a year, like a year and 3 months on a consistent basis, and I've yet to have any bouts of ringworm, even if I've trained with somebody with it. And if I do catch any sort of illness, whether it's some sort of viral thing or whatever, it's mild and it's short-lived, and really doesn't affect me that much. So I think that's fantastic. Now, the honey element is very important as well, because the honey is a beautiful prebiotic food. So you want a strong gut bacteria to be able to fend off disease. Believe it or not, most of your immune system actually resides within the gut. And a lot of friendly bacteria are in there that are able to help you defend your immune system effectively. These bugs need food. And 2 elements of this particular concoction are very beneficial for that. Number 1, garlic will have a lot of inulin. It's a prebiotic fiber found in asparagus, onions, leeks, obviously garlic. That's why it's in there. And your gut bugs will use that as fuel and propagate and grow stronger. Now, honey is full of plenty of readily accessible glucose, fructose, and oligosaccharides that your gut bugs just love. And so the combination of these 2 allows your gut buddies, Dr. Stephen Gundry, of course, big influence on where my mentality is at, calls them gut buddies, but your gut buddies will be very happy and thankful for you, and in return, they will treat their house with a ton of respect and love, which is you, and make your immune system and gut nice and strong and healthy. So I strongly recommend it. If you're married, or if you have a girlfriend, get some breath mints, dude, because you're going to stink. If you don't care, you don't care. Everyone who knows me knows I don't care. I probably should, but I don't. And if I should, if I've been a little bit too arrogant about it, by all means, next time you see me, tell me, and I'll make sure to buy some. I'll make sure to buy some gum. Albeit I'll probably spend $10 on a pack, because I'm that bougie guy. So, raw garlic cloves, raw organic honey, organic garlic, and let it sit on your counter. Eat 2 a day. Great way to start off the day. Now, the next element of that 2-part thing, sauerkraut, and in particular, red sauerkraut. Now, this is a bit of an unusual one if you don't know what you're looking at, and I'll tell you why. I mean, the reason why sauerkraut is a part of this is because it is the easily best source of vitamin C in a food-based form that you can find. Now, aside from having the highest concentration of vitamin C in sauerkraut as opposed to any other food, the best thing about it is that it is a fermented food, so you're getting a lot of friendly bacteria in there as well, in addition to a lot of antioxidants in the red sauerkraut because of the color itself and the high concentration of anthocyanins. Now, with that statement, you're probably looking at me and you're like, what the fuck? Red sauerkraut has the highest source of vitamin C over any food? We've always been taught as kids to drink orange juice if you're sick, right? Because oranges have the highest vitamin C. Not the case. Not the case at all. In fact, sauerkraut in 1 tablespoon will have well over 700 milligrams of vitamin C, over almost 10 times the daily recommended value. And in my experience, the minimum recommended value for somebody who's highly active, particularly in a kind of a dirty field like mixed martial arts or grappling. Now, aside from that, most orange juice in a prepared form has been pasteurized. Now, vitamin C is very sensitive to heat. And so if you're going to pasteurize the orange juice, you're denaturing the vast majority of the vitamin C that would be in there anyways. So even if you were to get it from orange juice, you're not getting anywhere near the amount that you should be, say, if you were eating whole oranges, let alone, of course, a red sauerkraut. Now, let's say for whatever reason you were hyper detail oriented and hyper nerdy and you instead bought whole organic oranges, or perhaps you grew them yourself and you juiced them yourself and you wanted to get a high concentrated dose of vitamin C from your own juice that you didn't pasteurize yourself. Well, there is another problem there. Now, aside from, even if they do have a higher concentration per gram of vitamin C, which I'll be honest with you, they don't, but even if they did, the big problem is vitamin C and glucose, the primary sugar in most carbohydrates and obviously found in orange juice as well, are molecularly very similar, and they are both absorbed through the body by what's called the GLUT5 transporter. Now, your body runs primarily on glucose as fuel unless you're ridiculous like me and have gotten your body fat adapted to the point where you can go longer periods of time without food and train extensively hard so your body can burn fat for fuel and your body knows how to be metabolically efficient between the two. But most likely you're not. So you get hungry every few hours and you use glucose as energy. Now your body knows this, and because of efficiency's sake, your body's going to uptake that glucose before any amount of vitamin C. And so if you are taking vitamin C with glucose, you are going to find that the amount of vitamin C you absorb won't be there compared to the amount that's in the food, because your body will absorb the glucose first. So you can see why sauerkraut is such an effective form. Number one, it has a high concentration, and number two, it's very low in glucose. It's essentially pure fiber, cellulose, and vitamin C and salt is what it is. And that's a beautiful thing for the purposes of strengthening your immune system. Vitamin C is very necessary for a lot of things. Number one, it's a powerful antioxidant. So if you are putting your body through a ton of stress, whether that is internal or external means, this will combat the stress that it causes. Number two, vitamin C is necessary to maintain the white blood cell function and killer T cell function. So when there is an infection or there is a pathogen in your system that your body doesn't like, vitamin C will give your body the strength it needs to fight it off more effectively and quickly. Also, vitamin C is essential for the production of collagen. I know collagen peptides have become quite the craze, and I truly don't know what my opinion is on those, to be honest with you. It could go one way or the other. I haven't done much research on them, but I do take them every day. I mean, they're certainly full of the correct amino acids. Whether or not it's an overly processed form of food or your body can recognize it, or if it's something that is actually beneficial, remains to be seen. I mean, I'm healthy, so maybe that's it. My face is starting to look a little bit like an alligator, but that could be any number of things. But regardless, wherever you get your amino acids from that comprise collagen, in order for your body to produce it and create strong joints, create strong tendons and ligaments and good skin, you need vitamin C. And so sauerkraut, particularly red sauerkraut, like I said, is a very valuable source of this. Now, I use a brand called Wild Brine. They sell it at Whole Foods. It's fantastic. I really like it. I've been eating it for years, but it's like $8 a jar, and a jar lasts me maybe 5 days. So a lot of people don't want to spend that much money on sauerkraut. A lot of people don't want to spend that much money on anything, but you know, I'm bougie. I've accepted it to this point. So if that isn't you and you want to find a sauerkraut, there are plenty out there and they're all great. The one thing I want you to look for on the ingredient list, if you do a red sauerkraut, if you do a green sauerkraut, any sauerkraut, or kimchi for that matter, kimchi is great too, particularly the non-vegan version where they do have a, they add the fermented fish in there as well. That adds another element to the microbial mix. But regardless, whatever you do, I want you to make sure that there's no vinegar in the mix. If it is pure sauerkraut, kimchi is a different story, but even if it is kimchi, I'd still prefer you to find a brand of sauerkraut that doesn't use vinegar. You'll still get the vitamin C benefits, but the problem is if it's naturally fermented, there are tons of healthy probiotics in there that your gut buddies would just love to make friends with. And again, a healthy gut is a healthy person. So make sure that if you're being nerdy and particular about it, really all it should be is cabbage, maybe a couple other vegetables. In my case, red beets, garlic are in that mix of sauerkraut. Water and salt, that's it. Most natural form, naturally fermented, happy gut buddies, broken down cellulose, tons of vitamin C, and happy tummy. Now, this video is a little bit disjointed, not crazy. I'm actually a lot more proud of it than I was for my dog shit performance last week. But there is one thing I forgot to mention earlier. So I always like to provide a plant-based alternative. And most of this is plant-based, but True honey is more of a gray area for a lot of vegans. So some vegans do it, some people don't, and I respect it either way. Honey can technically be construed as a animal product, and some people think of it as, some people not. So if you do, that's totally okay. If you don't feel comfortable using honey, what I would suggest is using a proper 100% organic grade A maple syrup. The sugar structures will be very similar. You won't necessarily get the prebiotic benefits, and you certainly won't get the probiotic benefits from like a raw organic honey, but you will find a similar effect on your gut health as well as the proper process overall. And your gut buddies will certainly appreciate the simple sugars and oligosaccharides in maple syrup. Another fantastic sweetener, and that's what I suggest. All right, cool. We're back on track. I didn't fuck this one up this time. I'm pretty proud of myself. So add some of this into your regimen. See how it works for you. I can certainly give you my anecdotal experience and tell you that I appreciate every part of it. I think it's been great. I rarely get sick. If I do, it's not serious. I haven't gotten any sort of skin infections really since I started this. And now that I think about it, it did sort of start from a nasty staffer in like August of 2021. So ever since then, I've been completely crystal clear, and I can only imagine why with that bullshit on my face back then. I'm sure a lot of y'all remember. So yeah, add it to your regimen and see what you think. Any questions you got for me, leave them in the comments below. If you would like a different color tank top next week, let me know. I have white, black, and this army green, which actually this army green kind of smacks. Who knows? Anyways, happy to do this. Enjoy it. I'm starting to enjoy it more. And if there's anything else you'd like to know about, by all means, let me know. But thanks a lot, guys. I'll talk to you soon.